What's up, everybody? This is Bruce, aka Geektacular, and it is a rare and awesome day that I get to do an unboxing regarding the Sega Genesis. So this is probably, I would say that the Genesis is my favorite video game console of all time. Um, and I occasionally pick up some various things for it here and there. Various bits of hardware, various games. Anytime I really see something at a good price or something that I've been meaning to pick up, I'll go ahead and get it. And this is one of those rare accessories, hardware accessories, that there are still tons of out in the wild, complete, brand new in their boxes. I guess they just made tons and tons and tons of these, and a lot of them did not sell, so that there's a ton of surplus brand new ones out there for a cheap price. This is actually only slightly more expensive than buying this used. So I couldn't pass up the opportunity to actually pick this up brand new in the box. So for those of you who don't know, this is a multi-tap. So for the kids who might be watching, makes me sound old, but back in the day, when you only had wired controllers, a lot of consoles only had 2 controller ports. But there were games that supported 4 players at once. So how do you connect 4 controllers to a console like the Sega Genesis that only had 2 controller ports? Ta-da! The multi-tap. This one is called the Sega Team Player, but that's just their fancy name for a multi-tap. So this is actually the MK-1647 version. There's actually another earlier version of the Team Player multi-tap that actually only has one connector coming out of it. And it's also lacking the 5th mode on this one. And the reason that they re-released it as this MK-1647 is that when the Genesis came out, there were actually 2 competing multi-taps. There was the official Sega one, which worked on a lot of games that supported 4 players, and there's also an Electronic Arts, an EA one, that was specifically made for EA multiplayer games. So basically you had 2 different multi-taps. You had the Sega one, which worked with some multiplayer games, and you had the EA one, which worked with a bunch of EA games. So in order to kind of bridge that divide, they introduced the Team Player MK-1647, which has 2 controller cables that coming out of it, and they added an extra mode, and this allows this particular multi-tap to work with both EA games and every other traditional multi-tap game. So essentially this kind of eliminated the need for 2 different kinds of multi-taps. This bridged the gap, and you can play any of the Genesis 4-player games with this. So let's go ahead and look at the packaging here. Classic red alternating stripe background pattern here. This is all like standard cardboard. This lists it as being for the Sega Genesis and Sega CD. I don't actually know if there's any multiplayer 32X games, or 4-player 32X games. It'd be interesting to see, but it's advertised as being just for the Genesis and the CD, although it should work for the 32X as well. If there are even any 4-player 32X games. So here's the side. It's got these cool sort of silver accents all around it, which make it look really nice. It's kind of shiny. It's not like foil or anything, but the ink that they use is kind of shiny for the silver parts. And it does indeed have the official Sega seal of quality, in case you were worried about that. This side I feel like is kind of weird, because the Sega logo is facing upwards, so if like it's got a hang tag on it. If this was hanging on a shelf, this side would look fine. because the Sega logo is upright, but this would actually look upside down. I guess maybe if you were stacking them this way, it would kind of look normal. So I guess probably if it's hanging, they're expecting you to see it on this side, and if they're all sitting out like this, they're expecting you to kind of read it this way. Kind of weird. And again, here's the bottom, made in Japan, and they used recycled paper for this box. I like that. So here is the back of the Team Player box here. It says, for use exclusively with Genesis and Sega CD. This shows a Genesis Model 2 right there. And I guess there were some games that were only compatible with the Team Players, so that's the logo that you would see on those. That means that they would not work with the EA multi-tap, basically. So there's just some description about it. You can see some of the other accessories here. There's the multi-tap as it looks when it's set up. It's connected to both controller ports. And it supports the 3-button control pad, so the original Genesis controller. The 6-button control pad, which was released later on in the life cycle. But it was basically the... It was originally sort of designed to be used with fighting games, but it kind of became the template for the Saturn controller going forward. And also the arcade stick. It's interesting that they also mention the Mega Mouse here, but they don't mention the 3-button arcade stick. Because I have a 6-button like this one and also a 3-button. So I'm wondering if the 3-button arcade stick works with this. Maybe I'll test it out and put it in the description below in case you're curious, just so you know. But it's weird that they don't mention that. I guess it kind of got replaced by the 6-button one. Alright, so as far as I know, this is brand new. Never been opened. So inside we have this little cardboard spacer thing on the side. This is brand new, still in the plastic wrap. So this is a little sheet of stickers. It's glossy, and each one comes in, it's kind of hard to see, unless I can get it to focus better here. But each of these is 2 little skinny long stickers, and then each of these over here are round. And so you have 4 different colors, and I'm guessing it's so that you could color code your controllers. So you would know which controller is connected to which port on the Team Player. So you would put probably the dot on the Team Player itself, and then the strips you would put on the controller. So that way you can remember that the controller you're holding is connected to C. I don't know why you just can't look, because it's all wired controllers, and you can only be a couple feet away from it. So I imagine it's not that, probably not necessary, but cool that they added them in anyway. So here is the manual. It's folded in half here. It's kind of like glossy paper, black and white. So here are all the instructions, should you be interested in reading that. So with 2 of these, you can actually support up to 8 players. So it can do up to 4 players, it can do 5 players, and it can do 8 players. And it tells you basically what all the different modes are for, and how to play games with and without the Team Player logo. So basically, since there were all kinds of since there were like the EA games that used the EA tap, there were other games that just used the Team Player tap, there's ones that didn't care, so you kind of have to set it to different modes. That's why there's that big switch on it. So yeah, that's really the only instruction that's in the box here. So, just to confirm, this is actually empty. That's I think just one big cardboard spacer that's in there. And here is the team player itself. Brand new. Let me get to focus there. So as you can see, it's plastic. It's got like a textured plastic look. Underneath the slider switch here, this is like glossy black. This just really easily clicks from one to the other. A, B, C, and D for your 4 controllers. You have your 2 connectors here. So, oops, I can get it to focus here. Just 2 standard Genesis 9-pin connectors, I believe. So yeah, nothing too amazingly crazy about it. That's what it looks like on the front there. I'll show you the sides. So it kind of slopes down towards the front, as you can see there. It fits just in sort of the palm of my hand. So it's fairly large, actually. 4 controllers, different modes. I'm trying to struggle to find any additional things to show you here. It's a pretty simple device. Like I said, it kind of slopes down. It's got kind of this ridge right here. So it kind of starts out fatter at the back and moves down. And then the bottom here, if it will focus, see if I can get it to focus here. The bottom right here is kind of like separated. So you see that it kind of gets smaller. The base on the bottom is sort of inset. So it's really having a problem. I think maybe it's trying to focus on that box. There we go. So as you can see, the bottom here is kind of inset here, and it has little feet that are just hard glossy plastic. So these aren't like sticky or anything like that. These appear to just be hard plastic bits. And here is the model number there. Not much info to go on. A couple screw holes, 4 screws it looks like. So if you wanted to take it apart, it's just 4 what appear to be Phillips head screws. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. That is the Sega Team Player, the revised edition with the 2 controller connections, which should support any Genesis multiplayer games. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching this. If you like this unboxing, go ahead and give me a thumbs up down below. That would be awesome. And if you like these kinds of unboxings, if you like video game unboxings, movie unboxings, anime unboxings, any of that kind of stuff, go ahead and click subscribe down below, and that way you'll get notified whenever I come out with any new videos. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you next time.